My hands were shaking as I stared at my aunt's phone. 47 photos of a family reunion I wasn't invited to, while I sat at the same holiday dinner table I'd been helping keep afloat since my parents lost their jobs 8 months ago. "Oh, you have to see these," Aunt Lisa gushed, oblivious. "2 weeks ago at the lake house. Best time." Swipe. My mom and dad laughing like the last 8 months never happened. Swipe. My unemployed 29-year-old brother, Mark, grinning in brand new Jordan sneakers that cost more than my weekly groceries. Swipe. Cousins, aunts, even Great Aunt Margaret, everyone framed in warm light and inside jokes. Everyone except me. Except the daughter who'd been sending $800 a month so this family could breathe. The same people who called me their rock whenever rent, car notes, and just this once emergencies showed up, had planned a reunion and celebrated my absence like it was normal. I kept my face neutral. I didn't ask a question. I didn't make a scene. I did the math. $11,200 in 8 months. Quietly transferred while they played games at the lake house and toasted Mark's bright future. Aunt Lisa finally looked up, still smiling, waiting for me to laugh along. Instead, I reached for my phone. 30 minutes later, I opened my banking app and tapped cancel. Because the family ATM doesn't argue. It just closes. Let me back up and explain how I became the family ATM while my brother became the golden child. I'm 32 and work as a marketing director at a mid-sized agency, making about $95,000 a year, stable, not untouchable. My brother is 29 and hasn't held a steady job in 8 months. In our family's economy, that somehow made him fragile and made me available. When mom talks about us, I'm doing well for myself. He's figuring things out. When dad tells stories, I'm always been responsible. He just needs the right opportunity. I get the bills, he gets the benefit of the doubt. 8 months ago, both my parents lost their jobs. Dad's company downsized, mom's retail store shut down for good. Overnight, the house turned into a panic machine. Late notices, phone calls, and that quiet, embarrassed tone people use right before they ask you to save them. And the family looked at me. Not because anyone sat me down and asked, because I had the paycheck, the credit, and the reputation of the kid who handles things. So the system started. $800 a month went out for Aunt Lisa's rent because family helps family. $300 a month went to my parents for medical bills because you know how expensive healthcare is. Then came the extras, my brother's car insurance, grocery money, random emergencies that always seemed to hit at the exact moment someone wanted a new solution. It was never presented as a choice, it was framed like a test I was expected to pass. Just for now, just this once, you're the only one who can. Meanwhile, my brother didn't contribute a dime, and nobody expected him to. He wasn't the safety net. He was the reason the safety net was needed. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself reliability earned love. But over 8 months, temporary became a baseline, and my role became permanent. The one who pays so everyone else can breathe. And after what I saw at that dinner table, I finally understood something else. They didn't call me when they wanted family. They called me when they wanted funding. That's the context I was sitting with when Aunt Lisa pulled out her phone at our holiday dinner and casually shattered my understanding of where I stood in this family. "Oh my God, you guys have to see these photos," she gushed, already swiping with the excited confidence of someone sharing a memory everyone was supposed to love. 2 weeks ago at the lake house, we had such an amazing time. She angled the screen toward the center of the table, and I saw it all. 47 photos, a whole day of laughing, hugging, board games, group shots. My parents looked lighter than they had in months. My brother, unemployed for 8 months, grinning in brand new Jordans and an outfit I'd never seen before. Cousins, aunts, even Great Aunt Margaret. Everyone was there except me. Not missing from one picture, missing from the entire event. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't make a scene. I just held my expression still, the way you do when something sinks in and you don't want anyone to watch it happen. "Wait," I said calmly. "Can I see those again?" The table went quiet, fast, sharp, and synchronized. Mom jumped in first, using that careful tone she saves for emergencies. "Oh, honey, it was just a little get-together, nothing formal. You were working and we didn't want to bother you." Dad nodded like it was already agreed upon. It was last minute, a simple mistake, a mix-up. "We should have called, but you know how busy you are." And then Mark added, like he had standing to say it, "Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. We figured you'd be too tired anyway." Simple mistake, mix-up, too busy, too tired. That's what they called leaving me out. while they smiled through 47 photos of a family I was paying to keep comfortable. In that silence, one thing became painfully clear. I was valuable when they needed money. I just wasn't valuable when they wanted joy. I stayed through dessert, I helped clear the table, I hugged everyone goodbye like nothing had changed. But something had. The moment I got to my car, I opened my banking app again. Not to hesitate, not to second guess, to confirm what I already knew. 8 months. That's how long I'd been doing this. 8 months of being the solution while they figured out how to have a family without me. I pulled up my transfer history and filtered the usual names and notes. The pattern was so consistent it looked automated, because most of it was. Aunt Lisa's rent, $800 a month, my parents' medical bills, $300 a month, and the extras that always came through Mark, groceries, car insurance. I'm short this month, just until next week. About $300 a month like clockwork. $1,400 a month. For 8 months, $11,200. That number didn't feel abstract sitting in my car. It felt like every overtime shift I'd swallowed, every weekend I'd lost, every just this once that quietly became a requirement. I stared at the screen and realized the ugliest part. I hadn't been funding their survival. I'd been funding their comfort while they practiced excluding me. Then I did something I'd never bothered to do before. I went to Mark's Instagram, the same Mark who'd been struggling for 8 months, the same Mark whose emergencies always landed in my lap. His posts told the truth my family never mentioned. 3 days ago, a brand new 65-inch TV finally upgraded the setup. Last week, an unboxing clip of a PlayStation 5. Another post, a MacBook Pro. And there were the Jordan sneakers again, like a signature. 2 weeks ago, on the exact day of that lake house reunion, he posted a photo out at an expensive restaurant. Caption like life was light and easy. While I was paying his bills, he was building a lifestyle. And then I saw the part that removed the last doubt. In his tagged photos, a screenshot, a group chat titled Family Planning, 23 messages, coordinating the reunion. A planning committee I wasn't in. They hadn't forgotten to invite me. They'd organized it without me. The damage control started the next morning. Mom called at 8:15, early enough to catch me mid-routine, late enough to sound reasonable. "Honey," she began, voice soft and careful, "I've been thinking about yesterday. I feel like there was some confusion about the lake house thing. We really didn't want to bother you. You worked so hard." I stayed quiet and let her fill the silence. "It wasn't about excluding you," she continued, sliding the blame into my lap like a folded napkin. "It was about protecting your time." An hour later, Dad called with the same script, different voice, same message. "It was spur of the moment," he said, "a simple mistake, a mix-up. We actually talked about calling you, but Mark said you'd been swamped. We thought we were being considerate." They had their story straight. I had a screenshot titled Family Planning, 23 messages worth of coordination. By lunch, the panic started showing up in a different form. Mark texted his first message in weeks that wasn't a direct request. "Hey, heard there's some weirdness about the lake house. It wasn't personal, super last minute, no big deal." 20 minutes later, the second text arrived, like clockwork. "Also, I'm a little short this month. I kind of overspent on the TV, the PS5, and the laptop. Could you cover me for like $2,000 just until I figure things out?" I stared at the screen, watching the switch happen in real time. Justify the exclusion, then invoice me for it. That evening, Aunt Lisa called, no excitement left in her voice. "Rachel, I need to talk to you about something urgent. My landlord's being a pain. I've got until Friday to come up with $800 or he starts the eviction process. I had some unexpected expenses and I'm in a bind." Unexpected expenses, like gas, food, and a family fun day I wasn't worth inviting to. "I hate to ask," she added, reaching for the old lever, "but family helps family, right?" There it was again, the phrase they used to justify treating me like an account instead of a person. One day after 47 photos, everyone suddenly needed me. Immediately, urgently, politely. And for the first time in 8 months, I didn't feel guilt. I felt clarity, because I finally understood the rule of this family. I wasn't included when they wanted joy. I was contacted when they wanted funding. And the next time they tried to collect, face to face, I was going to show them what it looks like when the family ATM is done being used. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. 3 days later, Mom texted, "Quick family dinner tonight, clear the air about the lake house thing, everyone will be there." Perfect. I arrived at 6:30 with my phone fully charged and my decision already made. I wasn't coming to argue, I wasn't coming to be convinced. The automatic transfers had stopped the night I saw those photos. Tonight was just the part where I let them look me in the eye while I held up the proof. We sat around the same dining room table where Aunt Lisa had slid her phone into the center of our lives and acted like it was a cute memory. Mom set out dessert like sugar could fix what happened. Dad wore his reasonable face. Mark kept glancing at me like he was still waiting on that $2,000. Lisa checked her phone every few minutes like a countdown. Friday didn't move just because she was uncomfortable. Mom started first, right on cue. "Honey, we've all been thinking," she said, gentle and practiced. "We hate that you took it the wrong way. It was just a simple mistake, a mix-up." Dad nodded. "We didn't want to bother you. You worked so hard." Mark cleared his throat. "Yeah, no big deal." I let them finish. I let the silence settle. Then I placed my phone on the table between the napkins and the water glasses. "Just say, I want to show you something," I said. I opened my camera roll, 47 screenshots I'd taken the night Aunt Lisa swiped past them too fast. One after another, same lake house, same people, same smiles, the timestamp that still made my stomach drop, 2 weeks ago. "These," I said, tapping the first photo, "are the pictures you were all so excited about." I didn't fling the phone, I didn't shove it in anyone's face. I slid it to Dad first, slowly, like evidence. He scrolled, his jaw tightened. He passed it to Mom. Mom's smile froze halfway. She passed it to Mark. Mark's eyes flicked up at me and away again. Lisa reached for it last, and her fingers hesitated like she'd forgotten the photos were real. 47 images of a family having the time of their lives without me. I watched their expressions change photo by photo, because guilt has a rhythm when it has nowhere to hide. "I've been looking at these for 3 days, I continued, voice steady, "and I keep coming back to the same question. How do you plan a whole family reunion and forget the person paying your bills for 8 months? Lisa opened her mouth. I lifted one finger. Not yet. I swiped once and brought up the second receipt. I also found this. The screenshot of the group chat filled the screen. Family planning across the top and 23 messages underneath. Logistics, food, timing, who was bringing what, who was picking up who. A planning committee I wasn't part of. I slid my phone back to the center again and let the title sit there like a confession. Every face at the table knew they'd been caught. Mom reached for her soft voice. "Rachel, honey, we can explain." "Actually," I said, cutting in calmly, "let me show you something else first." I opened my banking app. 8 months of transactions, neat rows of my money leaving my account in the same direction month after month, while they tried to tell me I was imagining the insult. "Lisa's rent," I said, turning the screen toward her. $800 a month for 8 months, $6,400. I swiped. "Mom and Dad's medical bills and grocery money, $300 a month for 8 months, $2,400. Another swipe. "Mark's insurance and emergencies, about $300 a month, $2,400. I did the last swipe slowly, then placed the phone flat on the table so they could all see the total without me narrating it. $11,200, 8 months. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't need to. "That," I said, "is what it costs to treat me like an outsider and still expect me to act like family." Mark started. "I mean, we appreciate—" "I'm not finished," I said, still calm. "Here's what I figured out. I'm not actually part of this family the way you mean it. I'm a service you subscribe to." No one laughed this time. "You call me when you need money. You exclude me when you want joy, and when I notice the difference, you tell me it was a simple mistake, a mix-up." I leaned back, letting the words land. "I'm done being used." Lisa's face went pale. "Rachel, that's not—" "It is," I said, "and I'm finally saying it out loud." I stood, not dramatically, just decisively, and looked at each of them once. My parents, who raised me to be useful. My brother, who spent like a king. My aunt, who needed Friday to disappear. "Sometimes," I said, "the family ATM doesn't argue." I picked up my phone. It just closes. And for the first time, I didn't wait for their permission to leave. I drove home and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open and my phone beside it. Not because I was second-guessing myself, but because I wanted this locked down. Methodical, clean, permanent. The automatic transfers had already stopped the night I saw those photos. I'd tapped cancel and felt something in me click shut. Now I was making sure there wasn't a single loose thread left for them to pull. I opened my banking app and went line by line through everything I'd built over the past 8 months. Aunt Lisa's $800 transfer on the 15th? Confirmed canceled. My parents' recurring medical payment? Confirmed canceled. The saved payment shortcuts that made it effortless to send Mark money the second he typed emergency? Deleted. Every convenience I'd created for them, the little bridges into my account, came down. Then I changed passwords, enabled two-factor authentication, reset recovery options, picked security answers they couldn't guess. Because I knew how this worked. When guilt didn't get them paid, they'd look for another route. The whole sweep took 43 minutes. 8 months of financial access reduced to nothing. When I was done, I opened a new group text and added all 4 of them. You may have noticed the transfers stopped. This is me putting it in writing. As of tonight, I'm not providing financial support anymore. I typed, no rent, no medical help, note just this once. No exceptions. I paused, then added the part that mattered. You made it clear I'm valuable when you need money, but not when you want family time. I'm done being used. Find other arrangements. Then I used the phrase they'd turned me into. I'm not the family's ATM anymore. Send. The response was immediate and chaotic. My phone buzzed with group replies first, then individual texts, then calls I didn't answer. Mom, Rachel, don't be ridiculous. We can work this out. You're family. Dad, this is incredibly disappointing. We raised you better than this. Mark, wait, are you serious? What about my car insurance? Lisa, please don't do this. I have until Friday to come up with rent. Then the private messages started, each one a different angle of the same panic. Mom called 6 times in 20 minutes. When I didn't pick up, she left a voicemail that started soft and ended sharp, reminding me of how family is supposed to work. Dad sent a paragraph about responsibility and gratitude, like paying their bills was a character trait I owed them. Mark got desperate fast. Come on, sis. I said I was sorry about the lake house thing. You're really going to ruin my life over one simple mistake? Simple mistake, mix up, too busy, too tired. The same words, just rearranged to make me feel wrong for noticing the pattern. And then Lisa's last text landed, clean and familiar. So, family doesn't abandon family. You're being selfish and cruel. Selfish, for refusing to keep funding people who excluded me. Cruel, for drawing a boundary. Abandonment, because the money stopped. Sitting there at my kitchen table, watching demands dress themselves up as hurt feelings, I finally saw the truth in plain language. They weren't panicking because they'd lost a daughter. They were panicking because they'd lost access. The consequences came faster than I expected. 2 weeks after I shut down the transfers, my phone lit up with an unknown number. I let it ring twice, then answered, more out of curiosity than kindness. Rachel, Mark said, no swagger, no lazy laugh, just airless panic. We need to talk. For 8 months, he'd called me only when he needed something. Now he sounded like the floor had dropped out from under him. My credit cards are maxed, he rushed on, like $8,400. The payments bounced. They took the TV back yesterday. Best Buy is emailing me about the PlayStation. I can't keep up with the laptop or the car insurance. Everything's hitting at once. I stared at the quiet kitchen in my apartment. No chaos, no shouting, no guilt, just my own breath. You mean the stuff you told me you overspent on? I asked, keeping my voice level. The TV, the PS5, the laptop, the Jordans. Silence. He swallowed. Okay, yes, but you can't just... His voice sharpened, reaching for the old entitlement. You can't just destroy my life because of one mistake. There it was, the family slogan. One mistake, simple mix-up, don't be dramatic. Mark, I said calmly, your life is not my responsibility, and this isn't one mistake. This is the bill. He exhaled hard like he was trying to hold back anger. I just need you to help me consolidate it. Just a loan, I'll pay you back. With what? I asked. No sarcasm, just the question. You haven't had a steady job in 8 months. The line went dead quiet again, because we both knew the answer. Then his voice shifted lower. So you're really doing this. You're really cutting off your own brother. I'm done being used, I said. You can call it whatever helps you sleep. I hung up. The next day, Lisa called. She didn't waste time with small talk. Rachel, I got an eviction notice, she said, voice shaking. Official papers, 5 days to pay or I'm out. I pictured her saying, family helps family, like it was a moral law. Right after showing me 47 photos of a reunion I wasn't welcome at. I applied for assistance, she rushed, but it takes weeks. I asked around, you're my last option. I waited a beat. Lisa, I said, you had 8 months to plan for what happens when the family's ATM stops. But family doesn't cash checks from someone they don't include, I cut in, still calm. You made your choice, I'm honoring it. She inhaled like she wanted to argue, then the sound cracked into a sob. She hung up. By the end of the week, the tone changed from damage control to organized pressure. Mom texted, emergency family meeting, Sunday, 2 p.m., you need to be here. Need, not please. Like I was still an account they could access. I went anyway, because I wanted to see what entitlement looks like when the money actually stops. Their living room was set up like an intervention. Mom and Dad on the couch, upright and rehearsed. Mark in the armchair, bouncing his knee like a trapped animal. Lisa clutching an envelope, folded paper sticking out, the kind you don't get unless something is official. I didn't sit right away. I stood near the doorway, purse strap still on my shoulder like my body already knew this wasn't home. Mom started first with the same soft voice she'd used the morning after the photos. Rachel, this has gone far enough. Dad layered on authority. You're tearing this family apart over money. Mark jumped in, louder, desperate. I'm about to lose my car. My credit is ruined. Do you want me homeless? Lisa lifted the envelope with shaking hands. I'm going to be out on the street. 4 adults, 4 separate disasters. And every sentence still pointed to the same conclusion. Fix this. Pay this. Be our solution. Mom leaned forward, eyes tight. It was a simple mistake about the lake house. We told you that. You're punishing all of us. I looked at her, really looked. The woman who could say simple mistake with a straight face after a whole group chat called family planning existed without me. You didn't lose me because of one dinner, I said quietly. You lost me because you taught me my place. Dad's jaw flexed. We raised you better than this. I nodded once. You did. You raised me to be responsible, to be practical, to be the one who understands. Mark scoffed like he couldn't help himself. So what? You're just going to watch us fall apart? I finally set my purse down, slowly, like I was choosing my words the same way I'd chosen my boundaries. No, I said. I'm going to watch you adapt, like adults. Mom's voice snapped. Rachel, I held up my hand. Not angry, just finished. Here's what's going to happen, I said, each word clean and simple. Mark is going to get a job. Lisa is going to find housing she can afford. And you two are going to stop treating your daughter like a subscription service. Dad stood halfway up. So you're abandoning us. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the one thing that made the room go still. My key to their house. I walked to the entry table and set it down like a stamp on a document. This isn't abandonment, I said, turning back. This is me closing the account. Mark's face twisted. You can't just... I can, I said, because I'm not your backup plan anymore. And then I walked out, while they were still trying to figure out how to live without the family's ATM. For the first time in 8 months, I didn't feel like I was walking away from my family. I felt like I was walking back to myself. 6 months later, they were still figuring out how to live without the family's ATM. Mark finally took a warehouse job, 3rd shift, $12 an hour. The kind of work he'd always acted too good for, back when my transfers made his life feel optional. His Instagram went quiet. No more unboxings, no more celebrating life. Just silence where the bragging used to be. Lisa moved in with a roommate in a neighborhood she used to complain about, but could actually afford. Her texts went from daily emergencies to nothing at all. Apparently, when you can't fund someone's crisis, you stop being invited into it. My parents adjusted too, in their way. They found assistance programs they never bothered to research when my money was available. Dad picked up part-time work at a hardware store. Mom started clipping coupons again, something she'd stopped doing the month I started sending help. They called me exactly once. Not to apologize, not to ask how I was doing, just a voicemail about how disappointed they were in the person I'd become. I listened to it twice, then I deleted it. No holiday cards, no "we miss you," no effort to rebuild anything that didn't come with a payment link attached. 6 months later, they were still figuring out how to pay bills. But I was figuring out something else. I was learning what my life looks like when my money stays where it belongs. $11,200, the amount I'd given them over 8 months, turned into a real emergency fund, a vacation I didn't have to earn with guilt, and a kind of peace I didn't know I was allowed to have. I changed my phone number and didn't give the new one to anyone who ever treated access to me like a right. I started saying yes to plans that cost money, because I finally understood the difference between spending on people who value me and spending on people who use me. I kept one screenshot on my phone from that holiday dinner. Not the reunion photos, a banking app receipt, simple, cold, final. $800 to Lisa, November 15th, completed. Sometimes I looked at it when the old guilt tried to creep back in, just to remember what it felt like to be reduced to a transfer instead of a person. I don't miss being their safety net, and I don't miss being their backup plan. They told me who I was to them. I believed them, and I did what I promised the day I set my key on that table. I closed the account. For good.